Hello, hello, welcome to Mindset to Results. And our guest today is Kristine Genovese. And we will speak today about very interesting topic, how to shift mental and emotional wellness. Hi, Kristine.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Yes, me too. I'm so excited to have you today as our guest because what you discovered in your journey and when you share, it is so much resonating with what I learned from Bob Proctor, who was my mentor. So I'm really excited about speaking to you today and about recording this episode. And before we start, could you please tell us a little bit about you and how did you discover uh, how to unlock those mental and emotional blocks?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be delighted. Well, for most of my career, I was actually a corporate turnaround specialist. So figuring out what people, processes, technology needed to shift so the business could achieve their objectives. And in March of 2020, when the whole world shut down, I got a call from my employer. I happened to be on a year one of a planned 3-year turnaround, and I got a phone call letting me know my services were no longer needed. Now I was in shock. The world is like beginning the height of COVID, freaking out because I'd never been fired in my whole life. I always met or exceeded objectives, and I couldn't believe it because I had just gotten a performance bonus. So the divine obviously plucked me out of corporate America at that time. And I had the next 9 months to figure out what is it I really wanted to do with my life, instead of just rushing back into doing something. And quite frankly, the world was shut down at that point. So it's not like anybody was hiring. Everyone's freaking out trying to figure out how do we all work from home and make this work. So I remember I did a lot of prayer and meditation at that time. And I had this one incredible meditation where I had tears streaming down my face, where I knew I couldn't go back into corporate America and that it was time for me. I heard very clearly it was time for me to bring soul intelligence into the world. So, soul intelligence is tapping into your inner knowing. And it is, everybody understands the concept of IQ, right? Our ideas, intention, that's that spark in the electromagnetic field, the first idea. Then we all knew about EQ, right? Emotional intelligence, and making sure, that we watch how we say what we say. And that's probably more important how we do it than what we're saying most of the time. And I talk about soul intelligence. And what soul intelligence is, that is when you are in full alignment with your mission, your vision, your values, your purpose, and you feel like you're part of something greater than yourself. And so,
Mhm.
what my methodology does, as a neuroenergetic health practitioner, what this method does is it allows me to figure out what needs to move, shift, or clear for that person so that they can be in full alignment with who they truly are.
Amazing, amazing. So good when people, as you shared about yourself, when they turn problems or challenges into a new a new phase, yes, like something new and bigger. And then when they really can connect to their soul and who they're meant to be and discover something bigger than they didn't know even before. And this is exactly what happened with you. And when you not
Mhm.
only redesigned your life and who you are, but also you help so many people to connect with their mission and purpose and live life with fulfillment.
I have chills as you say that. That is exactly what I'm here to do. And it's been the most rewarding shift of my life because, being in corporate America, you don't want to walk around with a book of charts and a pendulum in the boardroom, right? People are going to think you're nuts. But the way my system works is through science. It's through bioenergetics. And what bioenergetics is, it's the correlation between your mental and emotional well-being with your physical well-being, which basically says if you don't feel well physically, mentally, emotionally, you're probably not doing so hot, right? And that's because the underlying root cause of any physical anything that shows up in the physical world, in your physical body, is trapped emotion, trapped energy, because emotion is supposed to be energy in motion. And the trouble starts when that starts to pool, okay, and it causes a block in your mental body, your emotional body, your physical body. And bioenergetics has been documented since the 1950s. Dr. Alexander Lowen actually is the one who documented it. But this is actually operating on quantum physics. And I think people are now just starting to understand how that works in the world. If we think way back to grade school, we all learned that we were protons, neutrons, electrons moving around this electromagnetic field, right? But I think we forget that we're energy because we're physical, we're corporal, right? And we feel separate, even though we're not. And that means we attract things to us, good and bad. And when your conscious mind is only doing 5% of the work, that's all that strategizing, thinking, calculating, figuring all of that stuff. That's only 5% of the mind's job and what it does. 95% of where the mind is in the subconscious. And that's where all this stuff gets stuck. That's where our unresolved trauma goes. That's where all of our emotions go. That's where our self-limiting beliefs wind up. That's where all those patterns are. So our physical body is really the barometer to our subconscious mind. What's going on there? What's stuck? What needs to resolve? So I actually work in the field of functional medicine, and I help doctors heal their patients holistically and completely because I get to the underlying emotional root cause of what caused the chronic condition in the first place.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Wow, so much here in just what you said. Yes, so first, it is important to understand that we are not just physical body. Yes, we are not our brain and we're not our body. As always, Bob Proctor said, you're not your hand,
Hmm.
you're not your leg. Yes, I
Hmm.
have my hand, I have my leg. So who am I? So we dwell in three planes: spiritual plane, intellectual plane, and our physical plane. And spiritual is the highest, yes, and physical is the lowest plane. And it is interesting that so many people live from their lowest plane, from just physical, what they see and what they can just see in the like in the reality. And the biggest shift is happening when we understand that we have that spiritual intellectual plans also, and we can create our future from our mind by using our mind and those high mental faculties. And of course, as you said, 95% is subconscious, and people don't know that almost all their life they just run on autopilot with those subconscious programs, and they understand that they are meant for more, that they want something bigger, but because they're trapped in those the same programs which they repeating already for 20, 30, or maybe 50 years. Yes, and those the same programs which were installed in their childhood and different events. So as you said, it is so important to understand where is the gap between what I really understand, where I can be, what I want, what my soul wants, and where I am now, and see what is blocking, what creates this big gap. Yes, from those emotional traumas and some limitations which were put in our subconscious, even not by us, but other people, or maybe even ancestors in many, many years ago, which we don't even know, and who also knew, so didn't know us. Yeah, so let's could you please tell more about this? Yes, like how to find, how people can find those blocks, those limitations, and how they can rewrite them, their self-image, for example, who they are, because this also can block. Yes, because people think about themselves as their parents told them who they are, or their teachers told them who they are, but they don't make the work to rewrite their self-image and start becoming um, the main actor in their own movie, which is their life.
Right. Well, I love what Brandon Bouchard said. He talks about how we spend most of our life in our zone of excellence. And I'm like, well, that sounds pretty good, right? But that's like who you are, who you think you are, who people like you to be. So for a long time, I was this, plane hopping, adrenal junkie, crazy. corporate executive flying across the country helping companies turn, right? And people loved me doing that. They paid me really well. People in my life saw me as that person. I totally identified with that person. So the idea of leaving that behind, um, to step into what I believe he calls your zone of genius, which I believe is what I'm doing now, it's a big, scary leap,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of the things that I teach people how to do, I have a tool on my website called the Sacred Soul Script. And what we do is we brainwash ourselves for good. Because, right, we have this 5% of our mind that we have to use to try and shift the 95% where all that stuff is hiding out. So, one of the ways in which I encourage people to do is to use a tool, like I said, called my Sacred Soul Script. And what you do is you write down everything as if it's already happened. You pick a timeline that feels good, maybe a year out. What do you look like? What are you wearing? How do you walk into a room? What are all the incredible things that you've accomplished in the past year? Who were you with? What experiences did you have? And you write it with a lot of feeling and emotion because that's what the subconscious mind responds to, right? Feeling and emotion. Because just like the spark in the electromagnetic field is the idea, the intention, the thought. What magnifies things to you, what collapses the particle wave in the field and brings it into form is emotion. And that's what drives our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind doesn't know time. So that's the cool part. So the way you brainwash anybody actually is you isolate someone. Okay. You control the messaging, you repeat the messaging, and you reward with love or fear. So I think we probably all got a whole taste of the bad side of brainwashing when COVID showed up. But now you can use that tool for good, right? So every day, write that down or visualize it or stay steeped in that vision, right? Maybe rewrite your soul script. Do it every morning and every night. And the reason why I say that is that's the repeating part, but that's also when your subconscious mind is most active because it's kind of between waking and sleeping states, right? When we're sleeping, our subconscious mind takes over or we'd stop breathing. So that's a good thing. So we want to try and reprogram our subconscious at those moments, and then, of course, rewarding ourselves with love. Like, think about how you're going to feel when you've achieved all of those things and you are that person and you're able to shift, gratitude and joy. I used the Sacred Soul Script in my own life. And last year, um, I realized at one moment, oh my gosh, I, I'm living everything I journaled. I had just written a best-selling book. I was getting on a plane because I was going out to shoot a movie. And all of this had been in my journal. And I was like, what? And, the other thing was I saw myself on a billboard in Times Square. Well, that's happening in October during my Sacred Soul. I'm having an incredible Soul in the City tour. So, like, it works. It really works because this is energy, right? Everything is energy. And like I said, I think we forget that because we're physical. But the only way I can talk to you right now, the only way I can see you right now is an energy transfer. And I think people like forget, like, oh, we stream all this stuff out of thin air or through 5G. I go, well, how do you think that happens? It's an energy transfer, right? So we really forget about it. And the cool thing is, Einstein said a long time ago that the future of medicine is frequency.
Mm-hmm.
They are using frequency right now to destroy cancer cells. It's amazing what we can do with energy, vibration, and frequency when we truly understand it.
Yes, yes, everything is energy. And also so important, as you said, that we have to reprogram our mind through repetition. And many
Mm.
people they use at the end of the year those New Year resolution. They write the list and they say, okay, from next year I am this, I do this, I don't do this, and in 2 weeks we know what happens. Everything is and that's the year, right, which passed.
Yep.
So it is not only important to understand what you want and who you are and create that script, but really impress it in your subconscious mind through repetition, because this is how subconscious mind is has been written for us before, because through repetition, the same and the same, and then we start accepting as it is us, or it is true, or this is like what is we believe in. So when we want to replace those beliefs about ourselves, or create those new images of our future events, we also have to repeat it every day before we start feeling that it is us, that it is real. And also not just reading sometimes a day, but also living from that place, like everything what you think, feel, act, make decision, you already make decision from that place, not from your current reality. You understand that this current reality is result of our previous beliefs and our previous actions, decisions. And now everything what we do, we come from that future, from our future self, from our future achievements. And this is how we start living today, from the future, not from the past. And this is also very important. Yes. So it is like you detach from your current reality. You live in this current physical reality, but everything you already there, like already that is your reality. Yes. And this is how all big inventors, how they created it, like light, airplanes, everything big, which came, it is because they already came from that place that it is already real, right? And when
Mhm.
nobody see it, but we can see it. And this is how what is the difference? Visionary, yes, the visionary, it is somebody who can see the big vision. And this is not about just people, it is also about yourself, having that big vision about yourself and who you are. And that what change the state you are. You get so excited, you get so much energy, because it is like container, you build a big container, and bigger container you build, more energy you receive to fulfill that mission.
Absolutely. That's exactly how it works. And I mentioned The Secret, and that was a great start. I don't know if you remember that book or that movie, but it was all about setting intention or setting the affirmation. But the step that they needed to take that they didn't at the time was really kind of brought in by Neville Goddard, who said, feeling is the secret. And that's truly it, right? Because our emotions, and it's so interesting, it's so counterintuitive. All of my corporate life, it was there's no crying, and we stuff our emotions, and we weren't supposed to be, expressive, and just, that is like so destructive when you do that. And emotions are what's really powerful. And that's really what moves us as human beings. And that's really what we need to shift more often than not. And there's lots of ways to shift energy or emotions out of your body. It could be something simple as something stresses you out and you go for a walk and you remove yourself and you go out into the environment. Like movement can help. Obviously meditation and prayer, a lot of things that people know. Music can shift your vibration immediately. I love listening to high vibe music to shift my vibration before I'm about to do a soul intelligence session with someone. That's a great way for me to shift my vibe. Laughing. Oh my gosh, that brings you to the top of the scale immediately. So that's one of my favorite ways to shift my energy, my vibe. Gratitude, right? Like think about all the things you already have, you've already achieved, whether it's even just the comfort of the home that you live in, or the opportunity that you have before you. So I think staying steeped in those higher states allows the energy to come into you that you're looking for. In order for us to be in full alignment with who we are, we really have to be in alignment, mind, body, and soul. And I talked about a little bit about how emotions get trapped in the body, and that's when it causes dis-ease, dysfunction, or dissonance in our frequency. So what we're thinking we want versus how we feel about ourselves. If you don't feel worthy, you don't feel like you deserve it, it's not going to manifest. You're going to manifest more stuff that reflects what you feel. And so that's really the correlation between the two. So I mentioned I'm in a movie called The Pillars of Power that comes out. It'll be coming out towards the beginning of the year. And it is really a celebration of those early pioneers in transformation, some of the original stars like Dr. Joe Vitale and Marie Diamond and John Assaraf, all and others. And it is also focused on today's leaders in transformation, and I'm proud to be among them. So I'm excited about that. And yay, I know, pretty cool, huh?
Yeah,
So
congratulations. It is amazing. Amazing.
yeah, everybody's going to be talking about, how to live your best life, which I think just so falls in line with, who you speak to in your with your audience.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So happy for your achievements and being actor in that movie. It is
I
amazing.
know, it's crazy, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I did write a book. It's called Healing Through Soul Intelligence. It's available on Amazon. I actually also recorded it. So people who have gotten the Audible version have said to me, it feels like I'm getting a healing just by listening to you. So I was really glad that I did that one because I've gotten great feedback. It's an LA Tribune bestseller right now, and I just got voted 2025 Book of the Year from Best Holistic Life magazine. So I'm pretty excited about that one. So again, all of
Mhm.
these things, right? Whatever you journal about and or visualize, you can start to work and tap into your own soul intelligence. And when I talk about something physically being wrong, it doesn't have to be something huge or dramatic that you're going to a doctor for. Maybe like IBS, you've got GI issues, there's something, bigger going on there. It could be something as simple as you have a pain in your neck. You woke up, you think you slept wrong. It's the right side of your neck. Necks are about flexibility. The right side, it's a male. Maybe it's your partner. That's driving you crazy or being literal pain in your neck, right? So it's becoming, I think, more aware of what's going on in your physical body and what are those emotions that are underneath that.
Yes, amazing, amazing achievements, and I'm looking forward to read your book, of course. Yes, and maybe next
Thank
time when
you.
we meet, I will ask you more questions in regards with your book. Yeah, so
Awesome.
yeah, tell us a little bit more about those trapped emotions, how people can identify them, what they have to address, how they can find them, because it is these emotions can be in the childhood,
Hmm.
and people can bear them all the time, and it is not always very easy to find them. How would you suggest people to find what can be the trigger? Yes, like what can be the trigger that triggers them to feel bad, and they don't even know how it is related with some events in the past.
Well, that's truly where I come in. That's exactly what my method does. I'm able to tap into what is stuck in the subconscious, and I can get very, very specific. And the way I use the soul intelligence method is I literally have a book of charts and a pendulum, and the information comes through me. And I can pinpoint the event, I can usually pinpoint the trauma. I can find out whether it was a self-limiting belief, whether, that came out as, for example, as a kid. I grew up with an alcoholic parent, and so I always felt like I needed to be the overachiever, the high achiever. Just hitting the mark wasn't good enough, right? So it helped me back then in my career. But then I realized in my personal life, I was always overdoing and selected partners who would underdo, right? So then I didn't feel supported. So it can be something that you grow up with that can help you propel. It can also be something that holds you back. And I think once you realize what it is, you can help shift it. Now, that's truly where I come in, right? Even people who have, like, for example, gone through divorces, and they think they've worked through it and they've gone to counseling and cried and hit the pillow and all that stuff. Sometimes that energy is still stuck in your cells, in your physical body, and you don't even realize that it's still there and affecting you. We're kind of these layered beings. So just like you go to a chiropractor for a biomechanical adjustment, you come to me for a bioenergetic adjustment, and I'm able to actually figure out what that stuff is.
Yeah, that is amazing, amazing. Yes, people take their cars for every year. Yes, for inspection. But yes, it is so much more to realize who you are and what are some blocks in you which hold you back. Yes, and also even as you said, was something in the past in childhood, and we had our strength and
Hmm.
we use those strengths every time. But what happens in adult life, that we have those saboteurs which uses our strength and overuse it.
Hmm.
Yeah, so for example, if you wanted to achieve something, those saboteurs come and that say that you will be happy only when you achieve that, and then you achieve that goal and immediately your saboteurs say, oh, it was not so big, that you will be happy when you do that. And some people, they have those strengths but they don't even realize how this strength is abused and how they don't enjoy life. They just get into that like loop in that like program, yes, like a track, and they
Hmm.
achieve and achieve and achieve, and they're never happy. Yes, and they still want to prove somebody. Yes, because
Right.
something in the past happened, and as a child they wanted to prove their parents something, yeah, or father. Or yes, so it is really so important to understand what is really going on, because there is such a huge gap between what people feel that they want in life, yes, and where they are, and understanding yourself and discovering those emotional blocks, those triggers, and how to process them will help to close that gap and really to uh, be who you are, who you meant to be, not who you were told you are, yes, but really who you are. And as you said, when COVID hit and you lost a job, and it gave you such a great opportunity to reconnect who you are. And now these years passed and you see how blessing that was, that situation, yes, and you didn't think about that at that moment. You were thinking like, I lost a job, how it happened. But now we see how good it was for you, because you have that space for yourself, and now you're really do what you meant to do, and this is how you just shine through all the world and help people to connect to themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, you never know what the blessing in disguise is when you're going through it. That's for sure.
Yes, and many situations which we thought negative, now we see that so they're so good that it happened. So it is another lesson from our discussion, that whatever happens, you always can find positive. Nothing
Yeah.
is get good or bad. This is we who give this situation the meaning.
Well, that's, one of the things that I also speak to people about is sort of, the levels of consciousness, right? The first level is life is happening to me, right? Where you kind of stay in that victim, villain, hero mode. And then the
Mhm.
next level is life is happening for me, which is what you're suggesting, right? It's kind of life university, and every challenge, every problem, every discomfort, those we learn from sharp edges, not from round corners, like bumping into those things. But every opportunity is an opportunity to learn, to grow. And what's the meaning in this for me? And how is it showing me what needs to shift in me? Is it really that person, or is there something in me that needs to shift? And then the next level is life is happening through me. And that's when you really feel the connection to a higher power, the divine, God, whatever source we call it. But you feel that divine life force kind of coming through you. And that's the state that I'm in when I'm doing the soul intelligence work. That's the state I'm in when I'm writing, right? You feel like things are coming through you. And then the last state is life is happening as me. And that state is when you feel a part of everybody and everything. So it usually happens out in nature, at least for me it does. Like top of a mountain, skiing, I just hear like the rush of the wind by my ears, and I just kind of feel lost in the snow as one. Or even by the beach, just kind of being a part of the waves and hearing that om sound of the universe, and just kind of losing myself, dissolving myself into the water. But we can't stay in that exalted state very long. That's kind of Buddha on top of the mountain stuff. And we're human beings, and we're here to have experiences. And we don't stay there. I mean, the second you pull out into traffic, boom, you're like back down to the bottom going, I can't believe that guy cut me off. Why did they cut me off? you know? So you have to give yourself some grace, you know? I try and stay in the life is happening for me and life is happening through me states more often than not.
Yes, yes, so true. Yes, so true. All those stages are important, and more we understand ourselves, more we start enjoying different moments. Yes, and more we start being in control instead of just reacting to outside factors, outside situation. We we're more using our mental fitness. Yes, like
Mhm.
more not letting those programs to control our reactions, to control our life, and become more calm, more grounded, more thoughtful. Yes, and choose our way to respond, our way to live, and this is what makes our life more fulfilled. And for me, success is always with fulfillment. Yes, for me, success is something that the person found who is, like found his genius, found
Mm.
his strength, and developing that strength and creating that value, become valuable person in that direction, and really lives life with fulfillment. This is what for me. So, what is success and fulfillment for you?
Oh, wow. Every time I have the opportunity to work with an individual or a group using the soul intelligence method and someone has a shift, that is probably the most rewarding thing. When someone has that aha moment, you know. I remember I was working with an executive and um, she runs her own company and she was feeling really disconnected from her husband. She mentioned to me that she hadn't had, her menstruation period in about 3 months. She didn't feel close to her husband at the time. She just wanted to kind of be left alone. She didn't have her period, and her business was starting to slow down. Like they were not getting new clients like they had expected. And so she asked to do a session with me, and I realized right away, based on everything she shared with me, that I really needed to focus on her sacral chakra. So, like, you've got seven major energy centers in your body. The first one's the root of your spine. The second one is the sacral area, like where we have the seat of womanhood or the seat of manhood. And so I spent a lot of time clearing energy out of there because I realized it was, almost completely blocked, like maybe, like 90% blocked. So we opened that up and that entire area. I worked on that area doing the session, removing lots of things. I got a text from her first thing in the morning, and she said, "Oh my God, I got my period that night. I let my husband hold me. I just wanted to feel him around me. And I had three new client emails when I woke up the next morning." That is success to me when somebody has a shift and I've helped them personally and professionally with just one session. That's that there is nothing better for me. I love helping people, meet their meet and exceed their own expectations for their life. I mean, that is the biggest reward, helping people feel well physically, mentally, emotionally, connected, together spiritually and living their best life. That is truly the reward. I think you have to,
Yeah.
yeah, there you go.
Christine, for sharing. It is really so beautiful. Yes, the biggest impact and fulfillment we feel when we see the change in lives of people. Yes, and we know that it is not only one person life changes. It is his children, his surrounding, and it is like wave effect. Yes, the one person changes and everything in his world changes. And yes, of course, the world needs more people like you who can
Oh.
and give people new opportunities, new feelings, and new meaning. Yes, meaning
Well,
also.
thank you for that. I really appreciate that. And I will receive that. And thank you so much. And, just based on what you just said, I often talk to people about, when you choose to put self-care first, right? I always tell people self-care is not selfish, it's sacred. Because when you choose to heal yourself, you don't you have no idea the ripple effect that has, to your point. It's like the butterfly effect. You know, a butterfly flies in a different pattern on one side of the world and there's a tsunami on the other side because we're all connected. So it's not just the people you know or the people that you're around at work or your loved ones that can be affected, which they can. When you shift, other people shift. And you're helping to raise the consciousness level of the planet when you choose to work on you. So, you know, it all goes to the greater good, and it's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yes, when you said that, I just it came to my mind about Jesus as he said two commandments. Yes, first is love God with all your soul, all your mind, and then love yourself. Like love your neighbors as you love yourself. Yes, so
Yep.
it means that love yourself, and only then, when you love yourself, you can love other people. Yeah, and it is so, so deep. Yes, because really need to love ourselves and appreciate who we are, appreciate everything what we went through, person we become, and this process every day never stops. Yes, to become every day better and discover something new about ourselves, and to become that valuable person who can also impact other people's lives around us.
Amen. Well, thank you so much. This has been so much fun being here with you and sharing with you and your audience, and I just really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, me too, Christine. Thank you so much for being amazing guest in our podcast, and I wish you great success. Looking forward to read your book and watch the movie because The Secret is very, very important movie for me because Bob Proctor was my mentor. All my life changed, and I really appreciate the knowledge of people like you who do this work, who share with the world the light you are, and I'm looking forward to see you again in our future episodes.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that. And if anybody wants to get in touch with me, the best way is to just go to my website. It's soul, S-O-U-L, soul, intelligencemethod.com. And you'll get all my resources and you can find out a little bit more about me and how we might have an opportunity to make an impact together.
Thank you so much, Christine. Have a great day and looking forward to see you again in
Thank you
our
so much,
future.
Elena.
Yeah, all the best.
Thank you.